the abuse started from when I was really little. He'd make me come downstairs in the middle of the night and watch porn and do other things.
Welcome to episode 2 of Westover Stories. I'm soon about to interview a lady called Kim who had a really difficult childhood with abuse, that's sexual abuse, emotional abuse and physical abuse. I'm going to let her tell her story in her own words. She's not just been dealt one bad card in life, she's been dealt many bad cards in life, and I really hope people watching this and they can see what an incredible woman she is, because she's come so far and she speaks so freely and openly about it. Even though she's not 100% yet, she still has her bad days, but she takes me on a real journey in this interview, and a very emotional journey. But here she is, and here's her story in her own words.
Basically, my life's been a lot of abuse, back to back, pretty much. It's only since I've got a lot older and realised what was happening, that I've basically put my foot down and I won't accept it anymore. It started when I was born. My mum and my dad were together until I was about 2. And then she got with his best friend, which I thought of my stepdad, and he left when I was 12. The abuse started from when I was really little. I can't remember a lot of it, which is apparently to do with my own mental health and trying to sort of look after myself, not remembering a lot of things. But from what I understand, my mum was an alcoholic before I was born. I was sort of seen as the golden child, the one that everything would be fixed for, and I'd have everything really, really good. My 2 older sisters had a really bad time when they were little as well. But they moved out, so they didn't see a lot of things that had happened to me.
Right.
My stepdad basically started sexually abusing me from about 7 or 8, I think. Might have been younger. I can't actually fully remember, but that's the first time I remember it fully happening. He wouldn't do anything too obvious that would leave a trace, that if I ever told anybody, there wouldn't be any proof. He'd make me come downstairs in the middle of the night and watch porn and do other things. So it's shocking now, but for me, it's like telling somebody else's story. It's not, because I've come so far, it doesn't feel like my own, if that makes sense. So I'm quite numb
Yeah,
to it.
I know you've come really far, and it's I mean, I don't know how anyone. I mean, a lot of people are going to watch this, like myself, and it is shocking. It's horrific. It's hot. It's very hard to hear.
Yeah.
I know you've done so well, and you've got to where you are in life, which I'm sure you'll get to talk about after. But that obviously left you in a difficult position when you were a kid, because you didn't really understand it wasn't wrong at the time. Is that right?
Yeah. So I didn't really. I know it's wrong now. I obviously know it's wrong now. I am sort of angry about it, but like I say, it's in the past. There's nothing I can do about it now. But at the time, I didn't enjoy it. That's the wrong words, but I liked feeling loved, because my mum didn't give me any love. Not really. She was too bothered about drinking. So, my stepdad, even though it was the wrong type of attention, he shouldn't have done that. To me, it was the only attention I got, whether it were bad or good. It's quite well known when you have been abused, either as a child or as an adult, that the unsafe is actually your safe. So you feel safe in because you don't know any different. You don't know any different, so you can't think of a better life for yourself.
Which is so awful, and obviously so
Yeah,
wrong. But when you put it like that, I do sort of understand. I try to understand that when you're a child, you're not educated in certain areas, and you're still trying to understand things. So, and if you're lacking certain things in your childhood, like love and attention from your mum, it filled a gap that you you got used to, not got used to it?
Yeah.
What's the best way of phrasing that? Because obviously it's absolutely horrific.
That's the
The
normality,
guy
isn't
should be
it?
in
It's the
prison.
normality.
The
Um,
normality, yeah. So when you were
yeah,
young, this would happen. He'd obviously take you down to wake you up and take you downstairs, and that just became that became normal to you, which is,
yeah, yeah,
as I said, that's horrific, and obviously it's not normal, obviously,
yeah,
especially
yeah,
now. You can look back at it, but it's like that is terrifying, to be totally
yeah.
honest.
Well, that's it. That's sort of what I've based my life on. I've sort of got like a sex addiction in a way now.
Yeah,
Because it, the only way that I was shown love was because of that. So, and I know it's wrong now, and I would have never had. It's only in the last couple of years that I've realised that it's quite normal for people to feel like that. That they know it's wrong, but it's not that at the time they didn't want it to happen. I mean, if it hurt and things like that, then fair enough, and I totally get the ones that do. That's also very normal. But for them that didn't have anything else and they didn't know any better, any type of attention and any type of love is love.
yeah,
Like
yeah, of course.
I hate saying that because it's not right. It shouldn't be like that at all. I shouldn't
No,
have
not
had
at
to do
all.
that.
That's the worst part of it. That's the most sad. That's the saddest part of it is knowing that, is thinking that you actually thought like this monster did that to you, and
Yeah,
it became normal for you. Like that's no,
yeah,
that shouldn't be normal for any child. And it makes me
yeah,
worry so much about how many children are going through that now, thinking this is normal. This is the sort of love that I should be getting. This is the sort of
yeah,
attention I should be getting, and absolutely like it's just it's hard to get my head around. A
yeah.
lot
I
of
think
people will find that.
it's what they probably tell you as well, like that people won't understand the love that we have for each other and this, that, and other, and making it. It sort of makes them feel better that you're consenting when you can't consent as a child. So
Yeah,
they convince themselves that it's all right because you want it too. And um, I mean, what 7-year-old wants that?
yeah. No 7-year-old
You
wants that. They don't know.
can't.
They can't say no. They don't understand.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy's gonna. He would have overpowered you, and he would have been
yeah,
in control. And there's nothing you can do about it. Obviously, you can't blame yourself, and
yeah,
you know that. And you've obviously grown up to learn and to deal with it in your own way. Because obviously,
yeah,
you're doing really good now. Like, is that correct? Like, you got a partner now, and you're living a healthy life.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, like I said, it's affected all my life. But now I have done a lot of counselling and things like that. Been through primary and secondary mental health. Um,
Yeah,
had rape counselling and everything. I mean, rape counselling was for when my ex-husband tried to rape me. So I mean, it's been a constant battle ever since, and I'm still struggling quite a lot with, like, for example, my partner now, if he says something like, or if I don't do something right, so for example, tea's a bit burnt, I get really, really anxious, and I think, well, what's he going to say to me? And he doesn't, and I'm like,
it put
yeah,
you
but he's
almost in a
thinking
panic,
it.
like because you're used to that
Yeah,
abuse. That so
yeah,
you're almost like, oh my god, like I've done something wrong. Like it's almost like because you're controlled for so many years. I guess that that's the impact it has on you. And I guess, I mean,
yeah,
how did therapy? What sort of, so you had counselling and therapy? Did that make a huge? Because there's a lot of people out there that I think they sort of shy away from therapy and counselling. And
yeah,
I know people that I mean, even myself, I wouldn't mind getting a bit of therapy. It's like, if you look
yeah,
for the year that I've had, not that I can compare that to what you've gone through in the slightest, but it's a lot of people shy away from therapy. And has that
yeah.
really helped you?
Well, I mean, it didn't at the beginning as such because after all my childhood and everything that was horrendous back then, I then went onto a relationship that was just as bad, if not worse, probably, with my daughter's dad. He was very abusive, emotionally abusive, controlled everything. So when I was having really bad anxiety then, and depression, I was going and getting some counselling, but it wasn't really working because I wasn't in the right. I'd be coming home and things were bad at home. So there's only so much you can get done in the wrong situation.
Yeah,
So if you're not in a good place to start with, then there's only so much counselling can do.
yeah,
Um, and then after that, I went into counselling to a place called Rotherham Rise because of the abuse. And they highlighted, well, it were actually police that came around one day after me and him had split up. They came around one day and said, "You do realise that all this that's happened is abuse." It's because his mum basically contacted me and said she was going to smash my face in. So I wonder where he got his temperament from. So police came around. They said it's all abuse. Like, you don't realise how bad it is. You need to speak to somebody. Do you think your daughter's safe? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't know if she's safe. She was 6 at the time, so she can't speak up for herself. Not really. She can't tell me if something's abuse because she don't understand it herself. I didn't even understand it, and it's only now, years later. I mean, she's 13 now, nearly 14, and it's only now that I'm really understanding it all because I've got borderline personality disorder from being neglected as a child. My brain hasn't developed properly.
Yeah.
Um, which is the other thing as well. That's only recently been diagnosed. So it's a long road when you're having counselling. You need to speak up for yourself.
And it's
And
not overnight, is it? It does take time to
yeah,
heal and to understand things and come to terms with things. Could I just, if you don't mind, could we just go back? Because obviously, when I read your email, could we just go back to your relationship with your mum, sort of when you were younger, to
yeah,
sort of teenage years, and what happened there?
yeah.
That'd be great.
I mean, with my mum, she has always been quite distant with me, like held me at arm's distance, sort of thing. We never had a real good relationship as such. I didn't know any different back then when I was a child. As I grew up though, I mean, when I was 14, she lost our house, it got repossessed. And she contacted me while I was at school saying, meet me at Tesco's. So I did, and she said, we've lost house. I'm moving in with my boyfriend. You're gonna have to find somewhere to live. She says, I've left you some clothes in caravan outside the house. Dogs have gone.
You were
The
14.
boarding kennels. Yeah, we're 14, yeah. So at that point, I asked my boyfriend at time. Well, I say my boyfriend at time, we'd just split up, but then I had to
How,
back
how
to
old
back.
was
We'd
your
not
boyfriend
split
at the
up.
time?
He was 14 as well.
Okay, he was 14.
So yeah, I had to move into his mum's house. But because I was so petrified of being a nuisance, I wouldn't eat there. I wouldn't let him do any of my washing. So for months, I was living in the same clothes, just having to wash my clothes in the sink and stuff.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but then my mum got another house, moved me back in, and I think we were at 3 or 4 different houses, and she kept like leaving because she weren't paying rent. Ended up in a caravan, and then moved in with my sister for a little bit, which was also horrendous because I was working at time. I was doing like door-to-door sales, so I was working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Um, quite young. I think I was
Hard
16
work
at
that is
the
as
time.
well. It's not easy work.
Yeah, yeah. But I weren't really getting paid, but she was still charging me. I think it was like £100 a month, something like that. But because I weren't getting anything, she just kept adding it up and adding it up and adding it up. So when I got a different job, all my money went back to her, which I understand, obviously, like she has to pay for me and I have to pay something, but having some understanding of I haven't got any money and you're leaving me with nothing. But anyway, I moved out of there, met me daughter's dad, and then I decided to try and forgive my mum. My mum said that she'd move closer to us again and we'd all live together, we'd all live in a house, which I thought were fine. Everything was good. She seemed to be sober again. We moved in and she had a sit down conversation with us and said that she would claim the benefits at times, so she got everything paid for, and me and him were working. And she said, you have to pay £300 each to live here every month. I said, well, why is that? I said, well, you get benefits, everything gets paid for you. Like, we'll pay the gas and electric, we'll pay the food, do everything like that, council tax, whatever we need. But it shouldn't be £300 a month each. That's ridiculous. And she got right in my face and started screaming at me. So I either punched her or headbutted her and broke her nose.
I
But
don't blame you. I know you
yeah,
mentioned as well that you forgave your mum, and when you say you were trying to forgive her, that was that for
yeah.
obviously neglecting you as a child, obviously turning a blind eye to what was going on, the sexual abuse.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of people, like, I don't know if I could forgive someone for that. I probably couldn't, to be fair. Like it must be very. I guess you had a lot of anger. That's probably why you maybe attacked her.
Well, thing is, your mum is your mum. So that is the only person that's meant to, I mean, and your dad, but your mum carried you for 9 months or however long. That is meant to be the person that is meant to nurture you from being born,
And
from
protect
being in
you.
the
Yeah,
womb, yeah, and protect you. That is the one person that's meant to do everything for you. I'm not saying your dad's not involved either, but your mum gives you the food,
I
and
get you. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I'm with you.
So from then, if you give your mum every chance, this is the thing. It takes a lot, and this is why I'm at the point now where I think I probably spoke to her about 18 months, 2 years ago, but that was she's been in my daughter's life because I thought, well, I wonder if things are all different now. She said she were all different and she was sober, and a current partner were a mental health worker. And I thought, oh, brilliant. She's really got herself sorted out now. So I let her back into my daughter's life, and I thought, well, maybe she deserves another chance. Maybe she didn't know about what happened with me. And I think she was in her life for about a year or so, and she kept letting her down. She kept phoning up drunk, and I said, "That's it now, done."
So you don't talk to her now. And have you ever brought up the what happened? Have you ever been like, Mum, like, do you know what I went through? Like, it's horrific. Like have you ever like had a
Yeah,
go at her, or what does she
it's
say to
like,
that?
yeah, it's like it never happened. It's like she thinks that I had a perfect childhood, and I think it's probably to protect herself, to be honest. Because if
Yeah,
you imagine being a parent and messing up that bad, who'd want to admit to that? It takes a lot to admit to that, and
yeah,
she
I
was
couldn't
drunk
live
all
with
the
myself.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think for her own mental health, she has to pretend that everything will fine, which is fine. She has to do what she has to do. Nothing she can do now is ever going to make up for that. So there's no point in me chasing it.
There's no, I totally agree. And you know, you've obviously got your own life now. You've got a
Yeah,
partner, you've got a lovely daughter, and you know, and look, you're such a brave, amazing person. You come across like you really, you know, you talk about it so freely. But obviously, you've had, like, from reading your story and understanding your story now, Kim, you've had bad card since a very young age. You've had
yeah,
bad card after bad card after bad card, but you've,
yeah.
like, look, you're here, you're speaking about it, you're helping other people. It's absolutely amazing. That I take my hat off to you.
Thank you.
And that's not to say everyone that's gone through this has to talk about it or put, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's not
That's
easy.
it.
It's not
Sometimes,
easy.
yeah. I mean, for me, I'm struggling more now because I'm in a better place.
Yeah,
Like not financially, no one's in a good place financially, but I'm in a solid house. I'm in a solid relationship, even though most of the time I don't feel like it's a solid relationship. I'm always thinking he's going to leave me, he's going to hurt me, and that's because that's what everybody's done. I'm trying to have a better. I mean, my daughter. I will feel like I've been a good mum to my daughter. Now she's a teenager. I'm struggling because everybody struggles with
I think
teenagers.
everyone's going to say everyone struggles with teenagers.
Yeah,
They're difficult. Apparently, I'm sure I was a difficult teenager to my parents. So I know I
yeah.
was.
And she's very strong-minded as well. This is this is sort of what I've instilled in her, that you do not ever let anybody talk down to you. You don't let anybody abuse you. If you feel like you're in a bad situation, tell them. You tell them, because if they didn't
Yeah,
mean to do it, they will apologize and they'll not do it again. If they do mean to do it, then they won't apologize. And she's had to do that with her dad, unfortunately, because her dad, who was abusing me, then went on to abuse her, emotionally abuse her. So and I couldn't have any say in it because the court said he was safe to be around. So this is the thing.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
bit of a difficult situation, but we've had police involved and everything. She's stood her ground and said, unless you apologise to me and change how you are, we're not having contact. That's as
No, no,
simple as
yeah.
it is. So I'm quite proud in that she's got her own voice and she will tell people if they're being
Yeah,
toxic to
good.
her and hurtful sort of thing.
But look, there are going to be some other women, and maybe some men that are going through similar. I say women because it is the statistics are much higher,
Yeah,
and you know, and that's just how it is.
hopefully we can reach out to people that have either gone through similar, because I think it's probably more common than people think, which is horrific
Yeah,
to even think about. But some people it may have been like sort of mild abuse or physical, like as you were talking about earlier, mental abuse can be really damaging, and it can be really
yeah,
difficult. There's no evidence, there's no proof.
yeah,
And it happens. You can walk past a couple, and a guy could be controlling his partner, for example, saying, "Don't wear
yeah,
that today," don't wear, and
yeah,
that's a form of abuse. But what would you say to people to wrap up? What would you really say to people? And I know you've got such a big story, and maybe we could do another talk. I know that you also
yeah,
you went for a few years. You sort of you were drinking, going out quite a lot with your
yeah,
friends,
yeah,
and so if you want to elaborate on that a little bit, that'd be great. And then maybe sort of wrap it off with what advice you can give to people that are maybe going through or that have had a similar
yeah,
life
yeah,
and difficult time like yourself. If you could,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a teenager, it's basically all to do with control sort of thing because I had no control over my childhood. It went from being anorexic and smoking weed, drinking, sex, like addiction to sex. All the addictions I had were more to do with having some form of control over my life because I had none when I was younger. Up until like even well, not so much now. I have a lot more control now over my life. I know that I can speak my mind and things like that. But up until a few years ago, I didn't have any control. So this was my way of
Outlet.
having some control in my life. Um, but yeah, I mean, for anybody watching, men or women, if you do feel like you're in a bad situation or something's not quite right, do some research, phone somebody. There is helplines out there that you can phone and you can either I can't remember if it disappears off your records or you can arrange a call and they will phone you back at a convenient time or they'll email you under a different number that's
So
not
it's hidden,
related
yeah.
to
So
them.
you,
Yeah,
yes, if you want to hide it from a partner or an abusive person in your
yeah,
life, then you
yeah,
can. That's okay.
yeah. Even if you want to do it anonymous at first, sometimes it's really helpful to know that no one's going to get involved if it's found out that yes, they are abusive. You've got to want to leave. And the other thing as well, if you think that your children don't know what's happening, they do. They definitely do know what's happening because it's not just when kids go to bed, it's all the time. They'll see snide little remarks, they'll see how you cower. Like if even if you're not being physically hit, sort of thing, even just the nasty words and being worried when they come home if you've done that tidy the house right or maybe they'll know that you've spent a bit more money this
That's
weekend.
horrible. No,
Yeah,
no one should have
so
to live like that. That's just
yeah,
that is just awful. But people, because it's so this, I guess this abuse starts so subtly, and it
yeah,
picks up and up, and they sort of see what they can get away with, see how you're reacting, and then they sort
yeah,
of mold
yeah,
you into this place where you're being controlled, and it is severe abuse, and then it
yeah.
escalates from there. It's
there's,
an easy
there's
trap to
so
fall
many
into.
there's so many people that joke about things like not like being able to have the heating on because you other half will go mental. Well, that's not normal. You are your own person. If you are cold and if you live in that house, you should be able to use whatever you need in that house
Yeah,
to make sure that you are comfortable.
yeah,
So,
totally agreed. Um, Look, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I'm really grateful. You're an amazing woman. You've come
thank you.
really far, and I know people will watch this, and yeah, it's a hard subject to talk about, and for obviously mostly for yourself, but it's a hard subject for people to also listen to because
Yeah.
it's real, and it's sad, it's horrific, and people will really um see what an amazing woman you are, because look, you come through the other side. You've got a partner, you've got a daughter, and I'm
Yeah.
so sorry that that's happened to you, but
I'm
I'm
here.
glad you're yeah I'm glad
I'm
you're
here.
here, because not everyone is here that goes through that. It can really get
Yeah.
people mentally
Yeah.
and
It's like
physically.
it still is. It still gets me like that now. Like
Yeah,
there's been times I have to
understand.
phone. for help. But it's every morning you wake up and you think, well, today might be different. And it can be if you choose for it to be different. You can make choices and get there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Kim, thank you so much for opening up to me and sharing your difficult story, but amazing journey. I say amazing journey because of where you are now. So I take my hat off to you.
Do you see me cringe when you say amazing? I hate
hey,
taking
you are
compliments.
amazing because
I'm like, oh no.
not everyone can. You've got to be. It's not expected from people that have gone through abuse and they've had a difficult time. It's not. No one expects people to be okay or to just get through.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be okay and to seek help. It's important that people seek help. And I know you've got your therapy and you've had your counselling and that's been really beneficial for you. And I hope other people that are watching this that go through a similar situation reach out to people, get help. They're not fighting the war on their own. They've got an army behind them, and there are people out there that will talk to them, listen to them, and it's not just like you're ringing 999 or you're ringing. It's quite. It can be, as you said, it can be quite discreet, and they've got methods of speaking to people without it being very obvious to the other people that are around you. So, which is really important because people I think are very worried because people in an abusive relationship. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they'll be scared to reach out to someone in case their partner finds out, and they might get a battering or worse.
Yeah, that's it. Just try and get as much plan together as you can. Try and get some money together, or if you're getting some money together to put behind you and they find it, just say, well, I was saving it up for your birthday, or like anything. Think of ways out and get a plan ready.
Yeah.
Go to council and speak to them and see if they can get you out. There's definitely ways out.
Yeah. Thanks, Kim. You're a star.
Thank you.
Right. Well, let you take care, and thanks again for sharing your story with me.
Yeah. No, that's fine. No worries. Thank you.
No worries. Take care, Kim.
See you later.
Yes, bye.
That was a really difficult interview, and wow, what a woman Kim has become. She's strong, she's got therapy, she's got counselling, and as I said before, she's not 100% and she still has her days, but she's living a life, and that's the most important thing. No words can describe the horrific way she was treated by. You can't put words onto it. It's absolutely horrific. It makes a lot of people angry, including myself, and upset. But if you're going through something similar, or you have been through something similar, please reach out and talk. You haven't got to deal with it on your own. Kim, thank you so much for sharing your story with us all, because it's really brave of you to do so, and it's not easy to talk about for anyone that's gone through such extreme abuse. Here is Kim, and she's living her life with a daughter and a partner, and I wish her the best of luck. There is support out there. If you have any relatable issues, please seek help, because you're not alone. Thank you for watching episode 2 of Westover Stories. I want to document stories that deserve to be told. I want to give people a voice and make a difference in the world. I aim to interview people that have got hidden disabilities, mental health issues, just stories that need to be put out there in the public eye. So please subscribe, please stay tuned, and I'll catch you next time.